Well, hello, and welcome to Offbeat with me, Sandy Rich. So, what's Offbeat? Offbeat is my interview with men all over the world who are doing something different, who used to do something and now they've chosen to do something else. So, it's going to be interesting to see why they're doing it because a lot of people expect, especially men, to follow a career path. So as soon as you're in university, you've got to make a decision. Do I study this or do I study that? And then you just follow on, and then from there you start applying for jobs, and then you get that job, and then you climb up the corporate ladder, and you know how it goes. And if you want to make some changes, you have to weigh the pros and cons. How will this work? Why will this work? Blah blah blah. And 9 times out of 10, we don't make that decision. Men don't make that decision because, for whatever reason, it could be family pressure, social pressure, whatever. And then you have a set of people who say, you know what, I'm not really happy with what I'm doing. I'm going to try something different. And are there going to be risks? Are there going to be a difference in my lifestyle, what I could afford, what I could do, what I can't do? And am I willing to take that risk? And most of all, a lot of people come into that categories like, what will other people say? And now I have this group who really doesn't care what other people say because they're so focused on what is giving them joy, what is making them get up in the morning full of energy to do whatever it is they're doing. And my guest is one of those people who I've known for quite some time. And from what I recall, I think he spent more time flying, up there in the air than on ground. And I always envied him because he was all over the place, and his job was such he stayed in fancy places and did so much entertaining. And a lot of people would die for a job like that. And then he sends me a message which says, I've changed, I've resigned, I'm doing something else and I'm enjoying it. So I thought I have to bring him on. So I'm going to bring on my guest who has taken a leap of faith. And so I'm going to bring him on. And as you know, I never introduce my guest, I always get them to introduce themselves. So we're bringing on the handsome, the fit, the very lively Mr. And I won't give his name, but I'm going to ask him to introduce himself. Welcome to Sandy Rich's program, Offbeat. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Sandy. Thanks so much for having me. It's great to connect with you after so many times. Hi, everybody. My name is Rui da Silva. Most people knows me as Kootshi. That's how my nickname. And yeah, Sandy is absolutely right. We met long time ago in Dubai, a couple of years back. And I was working as a regional director of satellite companies, as Sandy said, and very well. When people used to ask me, where do you live? I normally used to say, I live in a plane. I live in a hotel room because I was all over the place. Every 2 weeks, I was traveling. I was on the move constantly, the pressure, and traveling around the world and seeing all these great cities. And that was fun. That was fun. But that was fun when you're 30s. I was aging and life is getting in the way. I'm aging in a way that, as everybody knows. And I start thinking, is this really what I want to do? So for me or for us, COVID hit the fan, as I normally say, and that was a gift. Most of people considering that COVID was a problem. I think we have been given the gift of time. We've been always saying, I don't have time to spend time with kids, with family at home, and all these things. And I got stranded. I was actually on my way I had a tour. I was flying from Dubai to Barcelona, Barcelona to Washington, Washington to Miami, Miami back to Portugal, Portugal back to Dubai. This is just my tour for 2 weeks. And COVID hit the fan, and the world stopped. I was stranded in Portugal at my parents' house. I went for a week. I ended up staying 3 months and a half. And while most people decided to stay watching Netflix or baking and doing other things, I decided that I'm going to use the gift of time. So I isolated myself. I had a fantastic job in a great company. I was putting satellites in space. I was slicing and dicing capacity and helping the GSM operators to increase their 5G and bridging the digital divide around the world, connecting with Secret Service, schools, NGOs, and so on. But I was also 44, so I'm 47. So I was also 42, 42, 43. So I thought to myself, I don't know if I want to keep continuing doing this. This is great. This is very exciting. But I stopped having fun of traveling. I ever just thinking that I'm going to be in a plane. I just get bored, and being in London, Paris, New York, or all these cities, it's fun. But then when you keep repeating on a daily basis, it gets a toll on your life. So I said to myself, I'm going to do an emotional reprogramming. And emotional reprogramming was it's like the iPhone. All the iPhones need or an Android. They need updates to their firmware, to their software. And our life also needs some updates. And sometimes it's great for us to stop and think about, where do I am? Where do I want to go? And see if that alignment of values is still valid, or if we have to change, or if we have to do something else. So when I isolated myself, because my friends are not in Portugal, I'm stranded there with my mother's house, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to isolate myself from the world. Anyway, I could not leave the country. I'm going to isolate myself. I get into one of my friends' country's house, no internet, no friends, no connections, nothing. And I reprogrammed emotionally myself. So I decided I reach here and I want to reach there. And I have 50% ahead of me to live. I already live 50% of my life. What and how do I want to live? And I realized that during this exercise that I didn't want to live in a big city anymore. These type of situations that I had was not appealing to me anymore. I was not going to be a happy person moving forward. And I only have one life. I don't have two. I don't have two options. So I have to take action on what I have in my hand. And with that, I had to reconsider my life, my existence, right? And when I was evaluating everything that I had in hand, a friend of mine came to me and I said, "Listen, Kootshi, you're very successful. You're very high position in the satellite industry, but you're looking great. You take good care of your health. You're so good on what you're delivering, your performance, and so on and so on. Why don't you help other individuals to do the same thing?" And that planted the seed for me to take this leap of faith that was, all right, this was great. My past was fantastic. Now it's time for me to rewrite a new future. And that
Okay.
was the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, I know that you've always been very fit, and your friend also said that. But this helping people, was that something that you always did, or and
No.
it was part of
Mm-mm.
it, or you suddenly started when you were reevaluating your life and all that, you felt that perhaps this would give you a lot of joy.
So what happened was, Sandy, when the seed was planted in my head,
Mm.
I was start thinking, wait a minute, I already do that to myself. So when I came across the health coaching term or terminology, and I signed up for the largest nutrition school in the world, I was still doubting, am I going to go back to corporate? Am I going to go? But I always knew that my corporate would never be the same as the past, because I don't want to live in Sao Paulo. I don't want to live in London. I don't want to live in Paris. Even Dubai, I was already on exiting mode. And when I get into the course, 2 weeks after of being as learning as an health coach, I said to myself, this is it. I'm gonna do this for a living. And that required a lot of confidence in myself, because I am about to change everything. I'm going to change countries, I'm going to change careers, I'm going to start from the scratch, but I'm going to do it to help the others and myself. And it's been a fantastic journey since I started on that moment. So I could not be happier than that. And
Well,
but
I
it's
have
funny.
It actually, I have to say, you do look very happy, and the other thing is you look very relaxed. From
Thank you.
what I
Yeah.
remember, you used to be like, okay, this is the meeting, let's get on with it. I have only so much time, let's do this. And here you look so much more relaxed. And actually, I have to say this, you look younger.
Thank you very much.
Yes, it
Always
does.
a compliment coming from you.
But you know something, Rui, you made a very important point. You said starting from scratch. Now,
Mm,
this is something, when you're in midlife, as you said, you're halfway, you're in midlife, and there you are giving up everything that you have worked very hard for to reach that position, that power, that money, that everything, and you're starting from scratch. So, can you
mm,
share with us what was that feeling
sure.
and how did you move forward from there?
All right. So I'll start with a joke that I was with some friends the other day, and we're having a coffee, and someone was talking about the middle life crisis, and I said, "There's no such thing as middle life crisis. What's happening is a misalignment of values." And that I'm not gonna have because I realign my values on the moment. And that's why some people said, oh, he reached 50 or 60 and he's questioning everything, the wife, the house, the partner, the job, and everything, because the values are not aligned anymore with their current life to the existing life. So my friend says, "Oh, it's a very smart observation." And I said, "Well, I've been going through this process, and that took me. You mentioned giving up. I didn't give up on anything. I start a new chapter of my life. Giving up on anything is like something is being forced me to give up. I didn't. I was not forced. I did it by choice. It's tough. It's extremely tough, Sandy. Your mental resilience, your mental health, your ability to commit to your new future and leave the comfortability back in the past, it's very high. And we have to accept this, right? We have to accept that temporarily your lifestyle is going to change. We have to accept that there will be a downhill financially eventually and all these situations because you're starting from the scratch. It's like, as I said, when I gave up that career, I was very highly paid. And I have to change for a job that as a internship, right? And that requires a mental resilience, a capability and ability to deal with your inner demons, your emotional stress, your mental fatigue, your own self-doubt, your own saboteurs. But the beauty of this is that I can say at 47, I'm retired because I'm doing something that actually gives me a lot of joy, a lot of pleasure. I don't know if it's going to work in the future. I don't know if it's going to succeed. But what I know is that I'm very happy for the path that I chose to myself. So, we don't give up. We close chapters, and our life is made of chapters. And that was a chapter was extremely fun. Love to live in Dubai, love to travel the world, love to fly business class, first class, stay in the most expensive hotels in the world. But there's more in life than that. And I was ready to explore new options and new alternatives.
Yeah, so when you are actually working with your clients, etc., and do you talk about something like the corporate burnout because that seems
Of
to be
course.
quite prevalent all over the place, and I think a lot of people are going through that crisis. You were resilient enough and smart enough to say, "Whoa, I'm going to take a step
Mm.
back." But many people are not like that. So, can you tell me and share with us what is it in your program besides, of course, the physical part, but the emotional and the mental part, which I think you also focus on. What is that about?
So one of the exercises that you have to do when you're reprogramming yourself emotionally was giving up on something materialistic that was important to you. And that exercise was done in order for you to not get attached to your comfortability. And that's a tough exercise because you know how many people say, I work so hard to have that house. I work so hard to have that car. I work so hard for so many things. And because you have that feeling, you get attached to it and it gets hard for you to move on if you don't have that things. So my first decision when I finished my emotional reprogramming was I used to drive a Jaguar F-Type. It was to sell my car. I decided I'm gonna sell my car, and not because I needed the money or anything. Thank God. But just because I really wanted to get rid of something that took me hard and to pay for it, so I can learn how to deal with my own emotions. So that situation of learning how to deal with your emotions and emotional stress and the mental fatigue and building the resilience and the burnout were the foundation for me to help and get the others finding their own path and what works for them. So nowadays, people struggle. What most people even say, I'm in a depression. And I say some most of the times they are the clinical depressions. But most of the time, people are just running life on an empty tank. And that's because their financial stress, their emotional stress, their mental fatigue, the emotional burnout, the demands of work, life demands, and so on, take a toll on your life. And we have to understand the principle that we need energy to live, and we can't make our own energy. So the way we manage our energy will determine our ability to sustain performance in life. And it's like managing your bank account. You know, money gives you choices. That's the only thing the money gives to you. More choices, choices to buy a car, more houses, and different scenarios, right? Energy is the currency of life. More energy gives you the ability to manage your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your performance, your deliverables, your results in a different way. So this is the thing. So kind of helping everybody to understand that energy is the currency of life and that the way you manage this will determine your ability to sustain performance and to age stronger. Understanding that aging is a reality for all of us. But the way we manage our energy, the way we manage our thoughts will reflect the way you're going to be aging and how your body's going to look in the future.
Very, very true, my dear. I agree with you 100%. So, when you first start with the emotional side, and when do you move to the physical side?
Well, it's all connected. In the end, it's all connected. We are an integrated, complex system of different dimensions, right? So the physical and the emotional, the mental, the existential, the spiritual, it's all connected. So one affects the other. You know, I give you an example. I have so many situations. I coach people around the world. I coach CEOs. I coach people in very high positions. Or my youngest is 16. And I call them athletes because it's athletes of life. We're all competing with ourselves to become a better version of ourselves, right? So that sense that when you take care of one aspect of your life, it's going to impact all the others. And you can't just look to the physical and ignore the mental and emotional and existential and the spiritual and so on. No, they're all interconnected. And I have situations where I take care of sleep disorders, right? Sleep is the rock star of our existence. And by dealing and learning how to deal with sleep, people start going to the gym, taking care of the way they look, self-esteem, managing their thoughts differently, and so on. So they're never disconnected. They're connected. We use the body to calm the mind, and we use the mind to calm the body.
Okay, so the one thing I wanted to ask you, do you
Hmm.
have a sort of a balance of male and female clients, or how is it? Is it like a good mixture, or they're more
That's a
male,
good.
more
That's a
female?
good. That's a good question. I tell you something. I think I have a mix is 50-50 or 60-40. What I say is ladies are easier to talk than men because women are traditionally more into sharing their feelings, emotions, what's concerned them, and they try different aspects. Men are a bit more challenging, but they're also more loyal. So while some ladies might come and try, I have gentlemen that stay with me, and most people stay with me 6 to 9 months average from a coaching, because we're changing habits, we're changing perspective, we're learning how to deal with emotions, fatigue, burnout, improve performance, focus, attention, all these things, disorders. Some people come with addiction, some people come with sleeping disorders. So it depends. But I don't think I have a different category, because my coaching practice is focused on energy, so not specifically on specific topics. But what I can tell you is that approaching ladies and approaching gentlemen is a completely different, because gentlemen traditionally do not share much of what's happening with them.
Quite true. So do you have mixed classes or is it separate ladies, separate guys?
No, I don't do. I don't do. I do group online sessions, and
Okay.
in that case, it's indifferent. But on that situation, it's a specific topic. For example, last month, I don't know, this month the topic was from stress to success, and I have people getting online, which is a different. It's an educational program. When I do the corporate health coaching, it's also educational program. But when I do transformational programs, so for example, someone that wants to improve their sleep, or someone who wants to improve their relationship with movement or the food, then it's just one to one. I don't do couples, or I don't do mixed groups on a transformational, because it's very personal. It's very individual. Each person has their own journey, so I have to respect their individuality and their uniqueness.
Quite true. Because I was a little confused. I said, because you mentioned that, ladies are more open about talking about,
Mm,
how they feel and whatever else. And men are, I think, conditioned not to uh, talk a lot about any of this because it's a sign of weakness, which is actually
mm,
a load of BS, but that's the way it is, So women are
yeah.
allowed to be emotional, men are supposed to be strong, and I think that's not fair, you
Yeah,
know.
true. But ladies are more keen to experience. Can I give you a funny example?
Yeah, of course.
I'm a gentleman, right? So at some point in time, I had to approach the imbalance that the cycle can impact on the lady's performance, right? And in the beginning, I was like, oh, am I gonna approach this without trying to be invasive, right? And I got surprised with how easy the ladies talk about a topic that for me was kind of sensitive, because I don't want to sound invasive, but the ladies were so keen and open that today I become an expert on pre and post menopause and situations, helping ladies how to manage these fluctuations and this incredibly tough change that they experience at some point in their life. Some navigate very easy, some have very tough times navigating that. And for me, it was a learning curve, because in the beginning I was like, oh my god, how am I going to say this, how am I going to ask this question, and they were so easy that I was the one putting roadblocks to myself. So that's the
Yeah,
things you learn
I
by
yeah yeah
talking.
right. And you have always have these terms for ladies, Oh, she's hormonal. Oh, she's
Yeah.
things like that. Oh, she's oversensitive because she's hormonal. That's the thing that we say a lot. But
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
sometimes ladies, especially the ones who are slightly maybe in their 30s or something, they don't really care. You know
No, at all.
yeah, they're not bothered about it. It's like the men may feel that, oh, this is a sensitive topic and maybe I shouldn't discuss it and all. But I'm sure you've realized now it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
At all, at all, at all. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you obviously I've watched a lot of I'm stalking you on Instagram.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I've seen all that crazy stuff that you do. So
Uh,
do you put that into a program for your clients as well, or is that just you?
well, yeah. So my level of exercise is a bit, as my friend says, lunatic.
I have to agree.
I know a lot of people follow me, and when I go and I said, I really can't believe you're doing this. And I always say, well, I'm 47 and I still can prove that aging stronger. It's not about aging. It's about consistency and the commitment with you. I also been in gym since I was 5. I've been acrobat. So my level of fitness is quite high. No, I do not coach people on to reach to my level of fitness, but I do, because that's something that I got it with age, but I do help a lot of individuals to change their relationship with movement and to increment movement in their daily habits as part of the process of aging stronger. Because we have to understand that what sustains our skeleton is our muscles. So as more as we move, as more we are creating the foundations to age gracefully and to age better, to minimize the impact of health. I do help people to understand that movement is fundamental to manage stress, avoid burnout, and to decrease fatigue. And most people think, oh, I've been seated behind the desk for 8 hours and I'm so tired. And that's when we need to use the body to calm the mind. So what I do coach is people changing their relationship with movement. Because when I go and I play and I do most of the videos that I think people think I'm a lunatic. I'm just playing. I'm just seeing how far my body can go if I still remember some things from the past, playing with my core and things like that. But in reality, that's just me having fun with my body. And that's the beauty of it. And like me, a lot of people can have it as long life is a journey. Fitness is not a destination. I don't work out to look good. Looking good is a consequence of loving my body. There's a saying that says, if you want to know what your thoughts were yesterday, look to your body today. If you want to know how your body is going to look tomorrow, look to your thoughts today, because that impacts your relationship with yourself.
Very, very true, my dear. And a lot of people are not even conscious about it. They're
Mm,
just going through life in, like a robot. I have to get up at
mm,
so and so time. I have a meeting at so and so time. I have to be in office at so and so time. And actually, the corporate world makes you like that, because
yeah.
it's like
Mm,
you have to do this, you have to do this. You know, there's no question of any kind of flexibility, and so
mm,
you are so structured, and your mind just operates on that. So it
mm,
doesn't matter whether anything else is happening or your body's telling you, slow down, or I can't take this anymore. You're just like on that route, the button is pressed and you're on. So
mm.
I think it's very important what you're saying. And do you sort of do these motivational talks about getting people to look after themselves a little more? Do you do it for corporates as well?
Yes, yeah, yes. So I do the following. Sorry, sir. I do the following. I help people to understand the relationship they want to have with themselves and with their environment, or as we say, the world, right? If you want nowadays people come and the organizations are to focus on when they look to CVs, their school backgrounds and so on, which is great. But if you're not able to sustain that knowledge, if you're not to sustain your deliverables and your results, you're just burning yourself. Companies are just burning human capital. Now, what I say, and I do a lot of corporate health coaching. I have a program called Corporate Warriors: 7 Steps for Sustainable Success, which is protocols that you can do at home to redefine your habits to sustain your performance. We remember, as I told you in the beginning, we need energy to live, and we can't make our own energy. So we have to look into our energy inventory and our fatigue inventory. Energy inventory: sleep, nutrition, movement, joy, stress management, priority management, and mindset. And your fatigue inventory: life, work, stress, family, anything that can deplete you from your energy. And that's where I help people to find to become rich about themselves, to become a millionaire from a life point of view, because they learn how to manage their energy in ways that work for them. Because what works for you, Sandy, might
Yes,
not work for me. And what
quite
might work
true.
for me might not work for anyone else. So I help people finding their voice, finding, well, okay, fine. I have my inner critical voice that keeps telling me I can't, I'm too stupid, I'm too old, this is the way, or I just, others are better than me. I help you to manage that voice by managing your energy, by putting yourself in a position that you can actually challenge that voice. And I said, am I? Is this thought really true? Am I really being honest and genuine with myself, or I'm just being a mean girl? And that's part of the process. Again, because we're all connected, right? So yes, I do help organizations through educational courses to redefine, to help their workforce to redefine their habits so they can understand that no, you should not stay late at night watching Netflix just to reward yourself because you had a bad day. No,
Mm,
because that will compromise your ability to operate the next day. You know,
quite true.
you
But you know,
help people say, go ahead.
no, I just wanted to touch on nutrition because
Hmm,
that's a very important part. What we are feeding ourselves, and 9 times out of 10, we're not feeding ourselves the right things. So here's the question:
absolutely.
first of all, you reach for this or reach for that because it's your comfort food. It's this, your palate likes it, and you convince yourself that your body wants it, and all of that. And on the other hand, you have all these diet plans that are quite disgusting, and you feel so deprived. I can't eat
Hmm,
this and I can't eat that, and I want to eat more of this, but I have to restrict this and all of that. So it's this emotional and mental battle that's going on when you get
absolutely.
this diet or this whatever
Hmm,
plan. So how do
hmm.
you handle that? How can I enjoy my food and still be healthy? That's the
Can I
question.
can I tell a secret, which is not a secret?
Okay.
Diets do not work.
Yeah.
Restrictions do not work. All right. I
Okay.
have a lot of people on weight loss journeys. Most people come to me for a weight loss, and then we realize that it's not about the weight you lose, it's about the life you gain. Right. So I don't have anyone in diets or restrictions. The first question I always ask to anyone that wants to lose weight is, what's your relationship with food? What do you use food for? If you're using food for comfort, if you're using for food as a compensatory escape road for any type of imbalance you have in your life, then you're most probably going to have you on a weight gain because your stress levels are too high, because your inner self talk is too critic, your emotional stress is there, and you're trying to look for comfort in food. That's okay. We humans gave the emotional and social aspect to food, and we use food as rewards. Look to celebrations, i.e., Christmas, birthdays. We go out for dinner with friends, and so on and so on. There's absolutely no problem with that. The problem is that when that becomes a consistent daily habit. So the first thing I always ask to everybody is, what's your relationship with food? Because the function of food is to provide us energy. Remember, we can't make our own energy. So food is part of the process of energizing ourselves. The reason why we eat is to get energy, right? Now, that ability changes all the scenarios because when I'm talking to anyone or I'm coaching anyone, I introduce the 80-20 rule where 80% of our meals are going to be energetic and 10 to 20% of your meals is going to be emotional and social. And that allows you to accommodate all types of foods into your life without restrictions. Now, if you change the plan and you eat 20% of your food energetic and 80% emotional and social, you're probably going to have nutrition deficiency and you're going to probably be consuming more calories and less nutrients. So we're looking to smart eating concept that is value for life. If the purpose of food is to give us nutrients, right? Nutrients are the raw materials that sustain our life. And as we age, Our caloric needs decrease, but our nutrient demands are still the same. So we have to be smart on our food choices. So smart eating applied with 80-20 rule and with again with the calorie expenditure, because weight loss is about energy in, energy out. Food is just part of it. So we can't just focus on the food. We have to look into the holistic approach. But when you do these things and put these things in place, you're starting to regain control of your relationship with the food. You start looking to food as, oh, am I sad? I'm gonna eat. I had a bad day at work. I'm gonna have a glass of wine. Oh, I feel lonely, bored, whatever reason it is. And I help a lot of people overcoming even addictions and emotional eating, because I have so many cases, Sandy, of people that come to me and I said, I wake up in the middle of the night and I go eat sweets. Yesterday, I was giving a nutrition workshop, and I remember a lady telling me, I have the sugar monster at night. And I said, well, it's first, sugar is not a monster. Food, we tend to demonize food. Food is not a problem. Our relationship with the food, that's the problem. It's not the food. The food, I've never been attacked by a cookie. I've never been attacked by a bag of potatoes, potato chips, right? Now, I do attack that when I use food as an escape road, when I use food because I'm too sad, too stressed, and so on. Again, there's no problem on doing that. But when you keep doing it on a daily basis, then you're just depriving yourself with the nutrients. And again, aging stronger is part of the holistic experience of life, right?
Very
It's
true.
not, we cannot just isolate everything. So I give an example. I had to undergo on a surgery because I had a minor accident on my hand, and I knew my life was going to change, right? I knew I can't move. I knew my calorie expenditure is going to decrease. I knew that this could affect even my mental health, right? Because I'm a very active person. So I embrace that moment. Okay, I'm going to go through a moment where things are going to change. And obviously, I was prepared to gain weight, which happened. For the first time in my life, I never gained weight. And the first time in my life, I gained weight by just staying at home, and I'm at my mother's house and I have a surgery. My hand is, I can't move my hand. So you keep pleasing yourself, rewarding yourself with pleasure, which is the food, right? But I also decided that as soon as my healing process is done, I would go back on track, and I put that relationship with the food that I'm talking about, looking to food as an energetic source. I also please myself on the weekends. I decide the weekends, that's the time I decided that it's not a cheat day, because I'm not cheating anyone. I'm not doing anything bad. I'm in control of my choices. I'm in control of my eating habits. I have the power. I'm sitting on the driver's seat of my life. So I chose that on Fridays, I allow myself to eat the pizza that I like or the nachos that I like. I can't afford at 47 to be eating this every day. My life cannot afford that. So I have to make smart decisions. And that's what we practice. That's what we cultivate. We increment these habits. I help people to understand that food is great. Food can be enjoyable. You can have your social and emotional times with the food, but you also have to understand that the reason and the purpose of nutrition is to provide the body with the raw materials that will help us to age stronger, to fight diseases, to improve our brain activity and sustain our performance.
Excellent, my dear. And I think that's a wonderful way of encouraging more people not to just follow a diet because they read it somewhere on the internet or whatever, but actually to have a very good relationship with food and to
Mm,
understand how it helps you instead of the
yeah.
other way around. Yeah. So Rui, we're coming to the end of our podcast, but before I allow you to leave, I would like I would like very much for you to share a couple of pointers about people who are thinking of making a change because you've
All
done
right.
it. Okay,
Mm,
so maybe just 4 5 points on whether they should take that leap of faith. What should they
perfect.
do?
All right. First of all, you have to embrace that change is complex, but it's possible, right? We have to accept that if you're stuck in the past, you'll not be able to progress in the future. So when you're ready to make a change, you have to create your new identity. So change is complex and building a new identity. Who are you? You are not Rui, the regional director of satellite company anymore. That belongs to my past. I'm Rui, the health coach that is taking control of my life and aging stronger. Now, that's one point. So accepting that change is complex, accepting that you're building a new identity for yourself. Your past belongs where it needs to be, in the past. Third is dealing with your inner voice, or your critical inner voice, your inner demons. They're there. Don't run away from them. Don't hide from them. Invite them to the table. Let them talk to you. Ask them, why are they there? So that you have a clear understanding what might be your setbacks, your roadblocks, your mental stress, your limiting beliefs, the things that can block you. It's a daily struggle. It's not something you do it once and it's halas, it's done. Every day I wake up in the morning and I have to deal with my own critical voice that tells me, you were more comfortable in the past. You were making more money in the past. Your life was different in the past. Yes, but that's belonged to the past. So I have to keep every day working on that so that my emotional stress do not kicks in, so that my emotions do not take over. Second, the second, no, like this is the fifth. Um, Trust the process and trust yourself. If you're ready to take that leap of faith, go forward. Don't wait for the right time because there's no such thing as the right time. We're always believing that, first of the year or after the summer or after my birthday and things like that. There's no such thing as the right time. The time is now. And if
Yeah.
you want to really change it now. Otherwise, you keep delaying. And my father always say, it's better a bad decision than a non-decision. So it's better to live with the said, okay, I tried, didn't work, I moved on, than saying, I wish I've tried that. My life would have been so much, and you have to deal with that. What if?
Quite true, my dear. That was so very well put, and thank you so much for making the time. I know
My pleasure.
you may not be in the same style of work, but you're still traveling all over the place, aren't you?
That's so true. Yes, that's so true. I'm
Yeah,
actually going to
yeah,
be in Dubai next week, and then
yeah.
Bahrain, and then Barcelona, and
You
then
see?
eventually.
Yeah, but I think now you're doing it more for yourself. It's
Yes,
not, like
absolutely.
I'm meeting the deadline of my company. I have to make a report. I have to do this. So you are the company. You are
I
answerable to
regained the
you.
pleasure of traveling. I
Yeah.
regained the pleasure of travel. I regained the joy of where am I going to go next? Because at some point in time, if people ask me what do I want to do for vacation, I said I don't want to be in an airport. I don't want to be in a plane, and I don't want to see anyone. I just want to be in a quiet place that I don't have to move. And now I'm reclaiming that joy that is, where should I go next? What am I going to do?
Yeah, because it's your choice.
Exactly.
Exactly, right? Anyway, thank you so much, my dear. That was wonderful. And uh, I hope a lot of people from your side and my side are going to watch this because I have learned so much from you. And
Thank you.
that's the other thing. That's the other thing. A lot of people think that younger people can't teach older people.
No,
So
everybody
wrong.
can
So
teach
wrong.
everybody.
Yes,
Everybody can
yes.
teach everybody as long as you have a beginner's mind to learn.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, my dear, and God bless. And I know
Thank
that you're
you.
going to end up making a lot of money.
Me too. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
son. It was a pleasure to see you. And thanks for having me on your
Absolutely.
show.
God bless. God bless. Well, there you have it, Rui, from where to where. But you know something? He's enjoying life because leading his life now on his own terms. And when he made that decision to move from where he was to where he is, I'm sure there must have been a lot of thinking, a lot of deciding what is good, what is not good. But you can't sit on the fence. And as he very rightly said, so what if you fail? At least you've tried. Otherwise, you'll never know. So life experiences are always your best teacher. But what I liked about him, he said, don't run your life on an empty tank. That I think was a really powerful statement. And the most important one was energy is the currency of life. I think that says it all because unless you're energized, unless you are full of that enthusiasm and energy, life means nothing at all, right? So, on that happy note, thank you very much for watching Offbeat with me, Stanley Rich, and I'll see you soon. God bless and take care.